Continuing now, let's just do a summary of skewness and what that concept is about. First, we see that when we have a graph that looks the same about the middle, we call that kind of graph symmetric. In other words, we have this peak in the middle where the frequencies are the highest, and then they tail off on both sides of that peak. We see that kind of graph is symmetric, and when that's the case, the sample mean and the median are about the same. This kind of graph is also called bell-shaped, sometimes even called normal, and we'll talk about that more in Chapter 8. As opposed to our other two graphs now, let's take a look at those. The one in the middle here is skewed left. In other words, it tails off to the left. And whenever that's the case, what do we know here? First, when you take a look at the beginning classes, they have the lower frequencies to them. And the latter classes have the higher frequencies. And we can always identify a skewed left graph because the sample mean is less than the median. And then finally, this graph with the right tail, that's called skewed right. And what do we know here? With the beginning classes, the frequencies are the highest. And whenever that's the case, we have a graph that's skewed right. We know that the sample mean is greater than the median. Now I want to do one more quick example to talk about how to use the calculator and how to bring these ideas home. So I want to do this problem here, number 48 on page 440. It says here that the top news, information, and entertainment websites in May 2000 are shown in the table. Let's find the median and the mean and interpret those. And let's just add one more point here and also talk about the skewness of this graph. Okay, so we want to put that data in our calculator. So to do so, we'll go ahead and hit the Stat button and hit number 1 for edit. Now I have some data there in list number 1. So to get rid of that, I can just hit the up arrow key to highlight L1 and then hit the clear button right down here below the cursor keys. And then notice when I hit enter, that clears out all the data that we have in there. So let's go ahead now and enter the data that's in that table on number 48. So we have 9.8 and then 9.6 and 9.4, 8.9, 7.6, and then the last one is 6.5. Now notice here we have 6 data items, so for the median, we're going to take the mean of those two middle numbers right there, 9.4 and 8.9. But let's let our calculator do that for us. So to compute the mean and the median, I'll hit the Stat button again, hit the right arrow key, and we'll select the very first option there, one variable statistics. Now we'll specify the list in which we have our data. That's in list number 1, so I'll hit second and number 1 to get L1. And then when we hit the enter key, we get this array of summary statistics. So we can see here from the data, from the output, pardon me, that the mean is about 8.6. And if we scroll down now, notice what we get. We get these what are called measures of position. We get the maximum and minimum numbers, and then the one right here, it says MED, that's the median of 9.15. So let's see. Let's go ahead and record our results here. So we're on page 440, number 48. So we can say from the calculator, the mean is 8.6 and the median is 9.15. So here's a case where the sample mean is going to be less than the median. So let's review what we said before on that. we said, what, the sample mean is less than the median. So it appears the data is skewed left. Now finally, for homework for this section, we want to make sure we read over it, and then we want to do problems 1 through 15.